ThaBoxingVoice.com.
What broke him down? Was it just the
body punches? I was hitting him with body punches. I heard him actually, he was crying in there.
You're saying that Biggs was crying when you hit him?
Yes.
When did that happen?
And perhaps the 4th round on.
ThaBoxingVoice.com.
So that you knew you had him by that time.
Absolutely, but I knew he was tough and he was taking those punches.
ThaBoxingVoice Productions.
What is up, TBV extended family? You know, this is like the TBV cousins, mixed combat radio, where we discuss MMA and everything other than boxing for combat sports. I'm joined today by the special friend of mine, good brother, good also co-host of TBV and fellow fan of MMA and former trainee of MMA, Mr. Doomsday Lions, Diamond Glove boxing amateur champion. What is that, Mr. Doomy? I do not have your intro here. I need to get Ness to send me that intro because it is dope. With the Mike Tyson shit, and you're on mute still. I mean, come on, man. Come on. I mean, it is one of the best intros in the game, period.
No sweat, Maddie. We're back at it right here with the sister channel, MCR. That's Mixed Combat Radio for you guys that are just tuning in. And
MCR podcast. Yes.
And like Maddie mentioned before, I am I trained MMA for a minute, big gym rat. I love the sport as well as boxing. And Maddie called me up and said, "Hey man, we got these topics to talk about, and they're pretty fucking crazy topics in my end." And Matt's pretty much more in the loop nowadays more than me in MMA. I'm getting back into the loop. A lot of new fighters and stuff like that. But I'm glad to be a guest on the show today, Matt, and get into these topics that you've presented us with.
I mean, yeah, we do have a ton of topics, mainly because this is like a bi-weekly show, like a once a month show podcast. I want to do more. We are trying to set a one show per week time. We're going to have a consistent time per week, a consistent day. Where we're going to bring MMA news and topics and discussion for you, the fans, the listeners. And that will be coming soon. I promise you. We're discussing behind the scenes, trying to get some graphic arts design as well. So it should be lit. It should be lit soon. I promise you. But that day is not yet. But we're going to discuss a ton of topics. Obviously, we have Nate Diaz return, Stipe versus Daniel Cormier Superfight, and also coaching the Ultimate Fighter. Ronda Rousey making the WWE appearance, official debut, if you want to call it that. And then plus, obviously, we have Tony Ferguson versus Khabib, Nurmagomedov being announced, being official again, and being up for the real belt, according to Dana White, even though Conor McGregor is not stripped. Obviously, we're going to get into it. Obviously, we're going to delve into all the topics. But first on the docket, my man from the West Coast, from Stockton 209, motherfucker. It is Nate Diaz's comeback. I mean, I'm hyped. Man. And let's be honest, when Nate Diaz says something on social media like he's coming back, we tend to believe him. He's not one to lie about that on social media. So when he says he's coming back, I believe him. Do you believe him, Jimmy? Do you believe we're going to see the comeback of Stockton's own?
I never took Nate for just talking just to talk kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm agree with you 100%. If he's saying he's coming back, he's coming back. These two brothers, including his brother, and because they're known for a reputation of being stand-up guys, basically. We say we're gonna fight you, so I'm excited. We're all excited. This guy brings a lot of action, a lot of color, you know what I mean, to the sport. So yeah, I'm looking forward to him banging out.
I mean, obviously we're gonna talk about specific fights he could be in, but let's be honest here. Nate Diaz could headline a pay-per-view in a non-title fight by himself at this point. And what, 300,000 pay-per-view buys?
I don't know. You know what? I'm not saying that Nate Diaz isn't a brand. The hell he is. You know what I mean? A lot of people know who Nate Diaz is, even the casuals of the sport. But I don't know if he would garner that much with just a mediocre opponent. I think he still needs the right opponent. They still want him to be that bad guy for that, up and coming or set champion, whoever it may be, who has the belt. Conor McGregor's belt is pretty much flying around, right?
I mean, well, obviously, Tony Ferguson has the interim belt, technically. Conor McGregor has the official belt the last time I checked. Tomorrow, it may be different. A week from now, it may be different. We have no idea. We have really no idea what's going to happen with the lightweight division and the top of that division. But like you said, Nate Diaz, he can do that with, not a mediocre name. And let's delve into it. What are some names that pique your interest or maybe the casual fan's interest? Two names that have thrown their name into the hat, so to speak, are Eddie Alvarez and Kevin Lee.
Eddie Alvarez and Kevin Lee is the names, right? Eddie Alvarez is coming off a win, all right, and Kevin Lee's coming off a loss. So I don't know where that would put either fighter in the ladder for that.
Yeah, if that determines who's going to get it over the other in this case. And again, Nate Diaz is coming off a loss himself, but then again, does it matter?
Well, he's that type of guy that, like we were talking about in the Boxing Voice channel, that we had Canelo kind of like, he's already his brand. He doesn't need the belt. He doesn't need once DSG, he doesn't really need a belt. So it's like, is Nate Diaz that brand already? I mean, a lot of people could have opinions on it. I believe he's branded himself, but he's that bad guy that needs that other like big name in order for him to function. I think him, pouncing on like and if he's not pouncing on a top 5 guy, I probably won't want to see him. So let's keep him up there with the top 5 guys, right?
Do you think Kevin Lee or Eddie Alvarez can talk enough shit back to create that sort of atmosphere?
Kevin Lee is fresh. He's obviously fresher than Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez has been in a lot of war. Then again, Nate Diaz has been in a lot of war. So who do you give the chance to, the old lion or the new lion? Who knows?
I mean, when you're the promoter in this stance, you are thinking about, hey, maybe Nate Diaz doesn't win this fight. Then you have to sort of hope that the winner gets some sort of star cachet from Nate Diaz's name and his brand. If you think Kevin Lee is that next guy, then maybe you put Kevin Lee in the spot. If you don't think Kevin Lee is the guy and you think maybe Eddie Alvarez can somehow come back into the title spot and be a champion, then you give it to Eddie Alvarez. I think another thing we have to think about here is that the UFC, in my opinion, is not a fan of all 3 of these guys.
Nate,
Kevin, and Alvarez. In my opinion, I don't think they're big. I don't think the UFC or Dana White specifically is a big fan of either. Or
I can see why you would have that opinion. I can see Nate's had his share of issues. I don't know if what's the other guy you just mentioned? Kevin Lee. He had that beef at that press conference, right? That's the only time I've really seen him out of character.
True.
I don't know. I can understand Nate. And what's the other guy?
Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez has always had a pretty okay relationship, right? He's always done.
I've always heard stories behind the scenes that him and Dana have beefed and they butted heads.
I think all these fighters have beefed with Dana at one point or another because it's just always something about asking for a plug into a card or a fight or whatever it may be. So I could see that happening. Now with the new owners of the UFC, I don't think that they have to even like really go so much as through Dana. Dana has his position as the face and president. Am I not right in saying that?
Yeah, I put it this way: Dana definitely does not tend to the day-and-day operations of the.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much after the buyout, he's been alleviated of a couple of things.
But let's all still be real that Dana White is still a bigger figure than a lot of these guys were mentioning. Dana White
almost definitely. Dana White is like, he's branded to UFC. Like they go hand in hand.
I'm not the direct comparison, but in terms of recognition, he's the Don King to MMA. Like everyone knows of Don King in boxing, regardless of the controversy. Just saying the recognition.
Oh yeah, biggest promoter, and probably one of the few. Because I know a couple other smaller cards that I might know, like as far as promotions. Promoters for a promotion, but Dana White is the biggest promoter for MMA I've ever. His name is everywhere.
And you can make the argument he's the biggest promoter in all of combat sports today, or at least the last 10 years. You can definitely say that.
Yeah, he did MMA and boxing, so he can get that,
Yeah, especially this last year he did boxing, that's for sure.
I guess we could turn the card around with Mayweather Promotions too, right? They did MMA and boxing, so yeah.
Another thing is that this fight, in my opinion, has to be a main event. There's no way you put Nate Diaz on the undercard and make it a 3-round fight, right?
No.
Okay, all right. So we agree on that. in my opinion, because of Nate Diaz's persona, character, I think it's very hard to put him on Fox, to be honest. Deserving of a Fox headline. I know he has done in the past, and he's garnered huge numbers, 3+ million viewers on Fox. I understand that. But I still think these new owners may be a little more concerned about that, putting a guy that's going to throw the F-bomb out there in the podcast.
I mean, who are you gonna put him out there with, right? It depends, because Nate's been known to be a gentleman too. I mean, if anything, out of the two brothers, his big bro is probably the loose cannon per se kind of thing. He's probably a little more wilder. Let's just put it out there like that. But Nate can get out of hand. But I think that he knows the position he's in, right? He knows the position he's in right now, and I'm pretty sure that he's not going to drop the F-bomb. I mean, he's getting what he wants if he's getting a fight that he wants. Because Nate's at the point where, like, oh, give me the big fight. Oh, I want a good fight. And I don't know if he's just using this as a tune-up back fight. I mean, for another fight. I don't know how he's feeling these nowadays, you know what I mean? Because he's been in hella wars.
I know we haven't talked about it yet, but we have to, because I know the rumor's been out there, because Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov is made. There has been speculation that now this opens up the route for the trilogy fight, McGregor versus Nate Diaz. A, does that happen? Or is that the most likely thing to happen? Probably the better question. And
I think
B, should it happen?
Man, McGregor returns, right? Like, McGregor returns and he fights Nate Diaz. I mean, I'm pretty sure McGregor is freaking looking for huge fights too. So has he put Nate Diaz in his rearview mirror? Sometimes he speaks that way. You know what I mean? McGregor, pounds his chest and walks up high, talking about he wants the money fights.
But two of the biggest pay-per-views of all time are those two McGregor Diaz fights. Those are two of the top 3 pay-per-view buy rates of all time for the UFC.
I mean, if you wanted to match McGregor up with anybody else in that division, I guess that matchup would be, I guess, something that would make sense, right?
Yeah.
The blood is there, bad blood, and
You don't sound like you want it, Doom. You sound like you're kind of like
you know what it is? It's like I gotta see how McGregor bounces back from this loss in boxing, and I gotta see how Nate Diaz comes back. Period. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I want to if these guys are really going to match up right off the bat. They're not going to fight each other coming in.
You want the trilogy fight, the final fight between them, so to speak, to be this one at this time. I can understand the timing being off in that aspect. Like, from an athletic standpoint, neither guy probably can be their best.
Yeah, I want these guys at their best facing each other, so then there's no excuses like, oh, I didn't even get a training camp. Oh, I had to make weight. I was off for a while. I had to shake off the cobwebs. There's always something. So I like to see these guys at their best. Nate coming back, taking on an Eddie Alvarez fight. Eddie Alvarez is a tough guy. They're both dogs, so there's going to be an entertaining fight. I'd watch that. Kevin Lee's good, man.
He is. And he can talk some shit, man.
Yeah, he talks shit and he's good. So that would be a fucking dope fight too. I could imagine these two guys getting at each other. You know what I'm saying? I know the crowd love it. I think that Kevin Lee's a more dangerous fight.
I can see that. I think he's the more explosive fighter than Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the more dynamic wrestler as well.
Quick grappler too. Quick.
All of them are dangerous though for Nate Diaz. Like, if this is a tune-up fight, none of the guys we mentioned are tune-up fights. Eddie could out-wrestle him and outbox him potentially. I think Kevin Lee can definitely do that. I think his wrestling pedigree can outwork and out-wrestle and win a decision against Nate Diaz easily. And then you have the McGregor fight. I think McGregor could potentially be like a kryptonite to Nate Diaz's style, and vice versa, the way they mesh. None of those fights are easy comeback fights off of a year-long layoff.
Well, whichever the two of the paths that Nate Diaz takes, if those are the only two opponents available, he has a fight in his hands with both of these guys. So I don't know about the wrestling part. I don't know the jiu-jitsu that this guy Nate has. I think will overcome Eddie Alvarez's aggressive wrestling style. I just think that Nate Diaz is just too good on the floor. Maybe if he gets him tired, maybe he'll have a chance. But I'm worried more about Kevin Lee. Not to say not Eddie Alvarez, he always pops up, an upset. He's good at, being the underdog and really, really pulling through. So I can never count him out.
Agreed. And I think also that Eddie Alvarez presents, in terms of grappling, his idea of positioning, being in the right position, working to position, maybe not submissions, but working for a position, has always been very excellent. Mr. Smack Your Lips over there, do me.
Sorry.
And I think that's going to give him issues, just like any sort of wrestler has given Nate Diaz issues. Though Eddie Alvarez is the smaller guy, maybe he is susceptible to the boxing game. Maybe he can get sucked into a war. While Kevin Lee, I think, a little more fundamental in his approach to a game plan and executing a game plan.
Well, you know what? You mentioned a good point, Matt. Let's talk about their boxing, right? Because, Eddie Alvarez has some good boxing. Nate, they'll start getting into a slugfest.
If those two were just had boxing gloves, I would pay $70 to see that. Just being honest. Just being a very biased fan of the sport. If Nate Diaz and Eddie Alvarez just had boxing gloves and went 12 rounds, I would pay $70 to see that. 100%. Those are two of the best technical boxers in MMA right now. Both of them have extraordinary body work in terms of their body punching ability and combinations that gets overlooked.
Matt, I gotta go on the record. I think Nate will demolish him. I'm sorry. I keep going against Eddie Alvarez. I find myself keep going against.
If it's a pure boxing matchup, I think Nate Diaz does beat him, of course. I think that's how he does beat him.
What?
In the complete MMA game, Eddie Alvarez is probably the favorite against Nate Diaz.
Really?
Oh, of course.
Why is that? Why?
I mean, all you would need to do is look at the Anthony Pettis fight with Eddie Alvarez. Like, you see how he can just take a striker who has really great jiu-jitsu game and submission game.
He did.
And just outwork him, out-hustle him, and win a decision.
Well, that's what he does.
This is a 5-round fight. I may change my mind. I'll be honest. But in a 3-round fight, Eddie's the clear favorite against Nate Diaz. So is Kevin Lee. And so is Conor McGregor. Again, I don't think any of those fights are 3-round fights. Or they definitely should not be 3-round fights. Those all should be main events.
I mean, speaking also about great matchups and, the comebacks and all that stuff, Nurmagomedov, he was injured, right? Yeah, I have always seen Nurmagomedov.
It's close enough, man. I mean,
it's
a very hard name. I know.
Sorry, Khabib.
It's okay.
I love your hat. I love your hat. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to represent like warriors or something like that in Russia. But yeah, supposedly. But anyways,
he did just demolish Edson Barboza in
fucking animal.
I mean, that was hard to watch at some point. Like,
he's an animal. He's an animal. He was wrestling bears when he was 12, and that's why he can do what he can do. This guy is a maniac, bro. He's relentless, bro. He's relentless. I strongly am a believer that this guy can demolish anyone. Like, even Conor. Conor, sorry, bro. You got to face this guy and shut the world up, because this is the guy that supposedly is your boogeyman.
Again, I think the crux of Khabib's issue is going to be 5-round fights. Seeing him in the 4th and 5th round is going to be highly interesting. Even though his cardio held up in this Edson fight, I mean, I don't know what Edson was doing, man. Like, he was just running backwards instead of trying to pivot and create angles. He just got sucked into a fight that Nurmagomedov was going to win 10 out of 10 times.
He got into. Listen, this is what
I don't know. I'll put it this way. I think Tony Ferguson in a 5-round fight can potentially hurt Khabib enough times, cut him up enough times, bruise him up enough times to win that 4th and 5th round hit. He can take over and then get a finish late.
So, do you believe that this Ferguson fight is like he's the gatekeeper for Khabib's shot at Conor?
Absolutely, and vice versa.
And vice versa, yeah, because not that Ferguson is the only gatekeepers. If Ferguson wins, man, he beats Khabib up. That's a huge stripe on that fucking rank, bro. He's gonna go up.
I mean,
that's my opinion, right? because I consider Khabib Nurmagomedov one of the most dangerous guys.
That was good.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
It was cool, right?
That was good. Nurmagomedov's undefeated. Nurmagomedov's the most fair guy in the division, in my opinion, at this point. If Ferguson beats him, like you said, that is probably a bigger feather in his cap than beating Conor McGregor. Right?
Now who while we're in this crazy trio right now. So who does Conor really want to fight? Who does he match up better for his benefit? Ferguson or Khabib?
Probably Ferguson. Because Ferguson doesn't necessarily always look to the ground as a game plan. He's more of a free flow fighter. Like when I watch the Ferguson fight, I don't see a game plan that he's worked with his coaches that he is now executing in a fight. Yeah, I see him just adapting live in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's experienced enough where he's so comfortable in all realms, bro. Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, he's comfortable in the stand-up. He's really comfortable everywhere. He's been coming a long way, man. I think he's one of the fighters that I feel like it really deserves that shot. To clear out and say that he's the best. He's been beating a lot of guys that are hardcore.
Agreed. And I think Ferguson's issues that present maybe that he is probably the easier fight for Conor McGregor, that he's a little bit too wide. He doesn't have that strict game plan or strict sense of a game plan. He can be caught in a dogfight way more than Khabib. We've seen that. There's a track record. They have a record that is proven that Khabib will look to take you down and beat you up. That is it. He doesn't want to play on the feet. He doesn't want to play there. He doesn't give a fuck about that. He is going to come in, take you down, and beat you the fuck up.
He kicks pretty good too, right?
Tony Ferguson is going to be there and dancing and just being in there and try to go with the flow. Conor McGregor can potentially upset that flow, take advantage of that potential IQ mishap from Ferguson. But again, I think probably both guys are favored over Conor McGregor at this point.
Damn.
In my personal opinion, maybe not betting odds, but my personal opinion,
because you know if the Vegas odds popped out for that shit, it'd be Conor McGregor. It'd be Conor McGregor.
Of course it would.
Because he's been delivering. He says he's gonna do it. He does it. So the only time where he had a little bump in the road was with Nate, and that's what gives Nate that that edge, that shine that gave him that extra bump in his brand.
Agreed.
But yeah.
We're heading out to the light heavyweight division now.
No,
I'm sorry, not the light heavyweight division. The heavyweight division.
Somebody's gonna in the light heavyweight going to heavyweight.
Yeah, that was a little bit low. I mean, this is a super fight. Absolutely. Yeah. DC, Daniel Cormier, the light heavyweight champion. I don't give a fuck what you say out there. He is the light heavyweight champion. John Jones. I don't care about you right now. Go clean your shit up. He is moving up to face the heavyweight monster, the number one reigning heavyweight champion of all time in the UFC, most title defenses in UFC history in the heavyweight division, Mr. Stipe Miocic. Wow. I'll be honest. I was kind of surprised by this because I thought Cain was going to get the fight. I thought Cain Velasquez was going to get the fight with Stipe.
What the hell is wrong with what's been going on with my man Cain Velasquez, man?
Yo, I hear he's thinking about moving down to light heavyweight. He's dealing with injuries, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Man, they haven't been super transparent. Well, maybe he wants his own privacy, right? But I haven't heard much.
You know how Cain is. He doesn't really talk to the media. He's not really that guy. That's really, I think, just him being him, not really his fault.
Okay, Cain, if you're listening or you get to listen to us anytime soon, tell your boy DC to stop playing with his life.
Yes.
He's in his mid-30s or late 30s already. He wants to take on Stipe Miocic, who just demolished Ngannou.
That was great. Ngannou.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm the name assassin.
The name is...
All right. So, but I'll hit him with the spear. But what the hell am I supposed to think of? He used to fight heavyweight. He was picking him up, dropping him off. But I don't think that Cormier is going to be able to compete in this day and age's heavyweight division. Maybe when he was doing it over there in Bellator or wherever the hell But he's not doing this to the heavyweights of now. So he needs to chillax.
I don't know.
How do you feel? I mean, Matt, come on.
Let's be honest here. DC, if John Jones did not exist, DC would 100% be one of the greatest of all time. He would 100% be the greatest light heavyweight of all time, in my opinion, if John Jones did not exist. And even with John Jones existing, he's one of the greatest of all time. And he is the number 2 greatest light heavyweight of all time, in my opinion. So I wouldn't be shocked if he does this. Think about who he beat at heavyweight. He beat Josh Barnett, Frank Mir, Bigfoot Silva. You know, he beat some really great names at.
Oh, he beat them up when they were on their way already. Like,
oh, come on, Family Lamb.
You know, most of the guys you just mentioned stayed around for too long.
They didn't, and Stipe didn't.
What do you mean?
Look at Stipe's names.
I'm talking about the Barnett, the guys you just mentioned.
We're gonna give Alistair Overeem like we care about Alistair Overeem's chinny ass chin.
Alistair Overeem just knocked the hell out of not Lucas Brown. What's his name? The Dark Horse.
No, he didn't. He got knocked the fuck out. He got knocked the fuck out by Francis Ngannou. Come on.
No, I'm talking about when he fought the Brown kid. I forgot his name.
You mean Travis Brown?
Travis Brown for the second time.
Yo, that shit was like 2 years ago, fam. Come on, man. And Travis Brown's he was never good.
All right, but that's the guy. Who's the guy that Alistair fought before Ngannou?
Ngannou.
Didn't you just say that?
We're going with it now, huh? We're just rolling with Ngannou. Ngannou. That definitely sounds like a B action, like a B level movie, like action star right there. Ngannou.
He looked hurt, man. He looked hurt after that fight. He like, man, I gotta take a vacation. Had that Viking on top of him.
Stipe is good at everything, great at nothing. DC is a phenomenal wrestler, Olympic level wrestler, and he has good striking ability, good clinch work. You know, he has everything else is good. I think DC can hang. I think DC's size disadvantage is probably not going to be that big because Stipe is not really the biggest heavyweight either. You have to think about that. Stipe is what, 240 something, maybe 6'4", 6'3".
He's a strong dude, bro.
He is a strong dude, but he's not a giant. You know what I mean?
No, I'm not gonna say that. He was smaller man in the Ngannou fight.
Even then, DC demolished some giants. Bigfoot Silva was a fucking giant. He was like 6'10". Come on, man. Like DC can do some work at heavyweight.
Yeah, but you're talking about guys that were kind of semi-clumsy.
I'll put it this way. I'm going right now, since you're going to be on some hater shit. DC's winning this fight, and DC's going to become one of the greats of all time, putting his name up there with the likes of Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, John Jones, by beating Stipe Miocic. You know what? He might overtake John Jones' legacy because he went up to heavyweight and won a title before John Jones ever did. And everyone thought John Jones would do that. Think about that. That would be the ultimate DC thing to do, to go take that achievement away from John Jones. To be like, nah, homie. Nah, you want to go to heavyweight? You want to become one of the greats of all time? Nah, I'm going to do that.
I snatched that. Yeah, that would be crazy. I snatched your dreams, John Jones. Whoa. But maybe in a perfect dreamland world where everyone loves DC as much as you do, that would happen. But it ain't gonna happen, bro. I'm telling you, this is a different era of heavyweight, bro. DC needs to stay at light heavyweight before he fucking kicks him. The door hits him on his ass on the way out, because he's on his way out. He don't got much left in the tank.
And you know what? He's on his way out, and he's gonna take the fucking heavyweight title with him on the way out.
Hey, look, fucking does it. If he does it, what? If he does it, I would fucking love it, bro. Look, DC's the American fucking champ. I think that he's been a gentleman throughout his career for the most part, until the little John Jones stuff where his animosity came out. But whatever, right? For the most part, he's been a great champ, man. I know a lot of guys knock him for not being the true champ because John Jones, blah 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 blah. But like you said, my man John Jones, man, he's just not around. So you're not around. I can't, bro. Like, you're not even like in the sport, my bro. So it's
sport, my bro.
I feel bad because John Jones to me is like, damn, he was the next Anderson Silva, even better. Not next, he was better.
But we know DC is going to take that legacy from him. That's the craziest part. Think about that. That's the craziest part. John Jones beat DC twice and win. Not if. I'm going on the limb right now. I'm calling it. Okay. DC the heavyweight title, and
No,
he will
pulls
take
his
the legacy
shit,
of John Jones. He will become up there with Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre's, just like John Jones.
Yeah, but this super fight is just like a talk type of thing, right? It's nothing that's really going to happen or is set in motion, right?
No, it's official.
It's set in motion.
It's 100% official.
So it's a big fight. They're fighting, and that's it.
They're also coaching the Ultimate Fighter.
Oh my goodness! So this is just look. See, I just received the news early today, so I'm not even savvy to everything. So it's on and popping, then, bro.
Yo, yeah, it's on.
Oh man,
Like 100% on.
Dow! All right, so it's on and popping, and now I know it. It's confirmed. I thought it was just some talks about it, or maybe it might have been in motion, but it's already confirmed. They're gonna fight. This is crazy. See now, DC. Now I feel even more bad for you, bro. You signed up for this shit. You are chasing greatness, and chasing greatness has a fucking big fucking price, right?
On some hater.
Hey, listen.
Yes, please tell me why you always leave. Please tell me why you always leave.
Listen, I'm not gonna. Hey, I'm gonna keep it real. Keep it real. He's not fighting a regular dude. He had problems with John Jones, Matt. What do you think is gonna happen?
Come on, man. John Jones is all right. Now we're actually gonna bring John Jones back to the table. We're not gonna push him aside. John Jones is probably the single greatest MMA fighter of all time. We know that.
Come on, I know that. You know that I'm rooting for my man John Jones, but he's just not there no more. He got the boot.
Yo, I'm just saying this right
He
now.
got kicked out of the club. All right.
Whatever Stipe can do, Cormier can do better.
Says you.
Tell me
you know
one
that's a lie.
better. Tell me one thing Stipe can do better. One thing.
First of all, the kick to DC's head will tell you he could kick better. All right, so he can definitely outstrike DC.
No, he cannot. What are you talking about? Are we going to ignore DC's boxing?
Okay, so we're gonna count DC's meaningless punches. Where did he hurt him? He never hurt him. Any punch he gave DC.
No. You cannot get away from that.
Any punch DC gave John Jones. Come on, when did he rock him? He never got rocked, man. John Jones has an iron chin.
All right, you're only bringing up 2 fights in his career. I'm talking about DC's whole career here. He definitely rocked some motherfuckers. He definitely hurt some motherfuckers with his hands. And
look, if you tell me he has a great wrestling boxing combo, yeah, but him just boxing, dude, don't work. What makes him successful is combination of his wrestling with the punches.
You think boxing per boxing skill, Stipe is better than DC?
Oh yeah, Stipe's better. Stipe has that one shot, bro, that'll send you to the moon. DC doesn't have that. He's hit guys really hard, and he's knocked them down. Maybe
who has Stipe one-shotted?
Come on, he one-shotted Verdum. Verdum had Verdum dancing. He was hitting the twist, the spin around. You know what I mean? With one shot, and then he finished him.
Mr. Verdum, the elite striker that he is.
Oh, come on. You're not going to tell me he didn't look fucking fabulous when he fought, what's his face? Travis Brown, I think he fought when he was beating.
He did, but you bring up Travis Brown. Who the fuck is Travis Brown?
Well, at one point, Travis Brown, bro, was the dark horse. And I know it's like kind of late in the game right now to mention him.
There's some new fans that may not understand the Travis Brown either hate or the hype behind him, because you're right, Jimmy. At one point, he was hyped. He was in the top 10. At one point, people thought he was the future of the heavyweight division. But guess what? Reality set in, and he actually fought some people, and you lost. Because his best win is what? Stefan Struve, who was always a borderline top 10 guy.
So look, let me ask you this, Matt. Coming into the Stipe Miocic, who knocked him out?
Stefan Struve, fam.
Well, he didn't knock him out and beat him.
Yeah, he did.
Who, Miocic? I think that was his only loss, right?
Years ago.
Yeah, years ago. Okay, we're talking about old school fights. You want to bring that up? It's just like any other fight game, bro. Shit happens.
You want to talk about DC fighting the single greatest fighter of all time? Like, that means something when you're just fighting Stipe Miocic.
I'm just saying, going into the Stipe Miocic fight versus Ngannou, or am I saying it right? Please tell me I'm not killing it again. Name assassin. Whoosh. Well,
Francis
anyway,
Ngannou.
So Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic. Before the fight happened, coming into the fight, who did you pick as the better striker? Francis Ngannou or Stipe?
Probably Francis.
All right, so you deem and did he outstrike Stipe?
From me watching it, no, I didn't think.
Absolutely not. You know he fucking didn't. He didn't strike him, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of these strikers come out. Thing is that this guy's a very big guy. He's imposing. So when he's coming at you, it's a different type of pressure. I'm gonna call it the Triple G kind of pressure. Guys ain't gonna be able to know how to function, bro.
But
DC.
Stipe was able to work that counter boxing game off of the wrestling he was able to implement from Francis Ngannou's weakness. That's not going to be a weakness with DC. You won't be able to time DC strikes and be able to level change and take him down because DC's a much better wrestler than fucking Ngannou.
So DC takes Stipe down whole fight.
Not whole fight, but he definitely takes him down.
Takes him down. I mean, look, he had success taking John Jones down.
Don't get me wrong. It's a tough fight, but DC's winning it. DC's a better fighter.
DC's a better fighter. I'm going to say the more experienced fighter.
Definitely that.
More experienced fighter. Stipe, bro, like I said, man, you know, he came and did what no other heavyweight has done. You got to give him his kudos. And he's a one punch, I'll knock you the hell out kind of guy. And he has that double combination. We had in Cain Velasquez, you know, that, you know, cardio king, outwork you, hit you with multiple shots at the heavyweight division. He was actually the smaller guy facing these heavyweights too. But we never saw that one punch power. We saw him being able to knock guys down, disgruntle them, you know, maybe get them all wobbly and then finish them. But we never seen him knock somebody out cold like a Francis Ngannou versus Alistair Overeem. So
again, Overeem though. I mean,
again, who else has Ngannou really knocked out? That was just an example that popped up in my head, though. You know what I mean?
He's not some other guys, but I mean that's one of those where we look back on it. We can look back on it now and go, well, we overhyped him off that win. But let's all be honest, it's Alistair Overeem, and you touch his chin, you know, he can just go down. He's the Amir Khan of the heavyweight division in the UFC, right? Like he's technically he's absolutely skilled. We all know that, but his chin is just way too suspect.
Yeah, I could probably go for say that. I mean, you know what? I still can't believe I didn't know this was confirmed, Matt. Why not defend your belt again? You know, why go for the super fight immediately? Is it gonna garner a lot of moolah? You know what I'm saying? Is it that?
Well, it's another belt. I mean, again, you're thinking about this right now. It's
like the McGregor blueprint that everybody's using here. What's going on? You know what I mean?
Well, again, I mean, there's only 3 people in history that have belts in 2 weight classes in the UFC. There's only 3 people in history in the UFC.
Who's that? I know McGregor is one of them.
Randy Couture and BJ Penn.
And BJ Penn? Oh, okay. At the same time?
Not at the same time. That's
McGregor. That's McGregor.
That's McGregor, but he never really defended his title. So that's one of those where technically, yes, he was a simultaneous champion 2 weight classes. First one to do that, but he never defended either of those belts. So it's one of those weird things where it's like, yes, technically, yes, he is, but he never defended those belts at the same time.
I would have liked to have seen Stipe in there with the Black Beast. You know what I mean?
I think Black Beast, Derek Lewis, Ngannou is the natural fight now, right?
Really? I really would like to just see. I mean,
or does Ngannou deserve a real tune-up, even though that doesn't exist?
That is not a tune-up, bro. That guy's just as dangerous as Ngannou.
I'm not saying Derek Lewis is a tune-up. I'm saying does Ngannou deserve a tune-up instead of Derek Lewis?
Shit, I'm not gonna say deserve. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Ngannou he had a rough fight with Stipe, bro.
I mean, Stipe was bruised up too. He had a swollen eye. His eye was
but I think that
those guys.
I mean, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think Francis got a little more Donkey Kong beat down.
Of course he did. But I mean, both guys were in a fight. You can tell that both guys were.
I mean, he was getting Donkey Kong, bro. I mean, I'm talking about he was getting hammer fisted all day when Stipe was on top of him.
Well, hold on, I have to address this because Oscar Martinez is saying some fucked up shit in the chat, saying there's nobody in the light heavyweight division that can challenge DC beside John Jones. Whoa.
Erroneous.
Blasphemous. Are we forgetting how he arguably lost against Alexander Gustafsson? Are we going to forget that fight? Because if we are, then, I mean, yeah, sure, you're right. But if we're not going to forget that fight that existed, then, yeah, there's definitely somebody out there that can beat DC and become a champion at 205. It's just a rematch. And it's a fight that doesn't really make a lot of money. That's why the UFC is not making it. That's why the DC is not making it. And they're going after Stipe. Unless, I'll be honest, Alexander Gustafsson is a harder fight for DC than fucking Stipe Miocic. But that, you know, that's maybe too much of a hipster opinion.
I mean, you know, Alexander Gustafsson has had his chance to be in there for, you know, numerous opportunities with big fights. He's looking a lot better. I'm not gonna say that a lot better, like in skill wise. He's always been good boxer, good wrestler and stuff like that. But I just think that he's coming in with more confidence now. I think, yeah, that would be a more dangerous fight than Stipe Miocic. And I just mean that because he's just a lot lengthier, man. He really presents that John Jones stature complication, you know what I mean? Where he's always going to be having people on the outside. He's going to be the longer, taller guy. You know, then again, you know, Stipe just kind of outweighs everything with his that one punch knockout power. I've only seen you know, the Swiss Mauler, you know, really really knock somebody out. I've only seen him do it like twice, maybe, Matt. Like, you know, where he's really like put guys out.
I think you just made up a nickname, which is amazing.
The Swiss Mauler.
His nickname is the Mauler.
Yeah, the Mauler. He's from Switzerland, so I just call him the Swiss Mauler.
From Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden. I'm sorry.
You say like a Swedish Mauler.
Sweet.
But I mean, you were almost there.
I was almost there.
I'll give you half credit.
Can you believe that? I actually missed Switzerland and Sweden is two different countries, or is Switzerland a city in Sweden? Where am I going with this?
Switzerland's a different country entirely.
Wah, 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 wah.
Oh, that's right. That was wrong soundbite. That was bad.
Yo, shout out to Plaster God 412 Goat. Made a good point. Says because this was the road mapped out for John Jones, they're just putting DC in his place.
I don't think it's that.
Man, that shit sounds kind of crazy. It sounds conspiracy theory of you, Plaster God.
It may be all these things we're mentioning and that. You know what I mean? Like it's never usually one single thing that an event occurs, right? There's never one single cause for an event, in my opinion. Usually, there's a culmination of things that happen that then create an event. I think that's what this is. You have really no clear title contender in the heavyweight division. Right now, even though Gustafsson's on a 2-fight winning streak against Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira, who he knocked out in the 5th round.
Bro, what the hell, man? My man Teixeira. And you know what? That's the fight that kind of slipped my mind when I was making my points right now.
That was a good fight, man.
Wow, dog. My man Teixeira, you know, I was really dude, I was on the hype train with Teixeira as he was coming up, and you know, even after he fought John Jones, I was still with him. You know, I like his style, you know, his whole boxing style.
Kind of like you?
No, he's bald. but the guy's cool as fuck, man. You know, very humble guy. Matt's crazy. Yo, guy has no hair, but he looks like me.
He could be your uncle, right? Like,
hey, Uncle T.
Got like a family event, and you have Uncle Teixeira over there that's drunk off of the Henny.
El Tio Teixeira. Yeah, man. But the guy, I felt bad for him. He got mauled, literally.
Yes.
Yeah, he got mauled. I think Gustafsson looked really good and really made a statement with him, man. Because he's no easy pushover. He's a fighter. He likes to fight and bang. That's what I liked about him. You know, his little Tyson moves and stuff.
Plaster God in the chat bring up another, I think, really interesting point that we can bring up. And one that I thought has just been an overall arching theme of the new UFC is the relationship with the old UFC and how they act and the comparisons. He's saying the old UFC would make DC versus Gustafsson. This new UFC wants super fights for pay-per-view revenue. You're probably right. Because you have to remember, the new UFC just spent $4 billion on this thing. They need to recoup that $4 billion. That's why they cut over like 20% or 25% of their executive
branch.
I wouldn't say branch. I feel like that's the wrong word because that's like the government.
No. They have business branches and they have risk management. Yeah,
The executive branches of the company in the UFC, they fired, I mean, tons of people that have been there and helped it grow. And
hey, Maddie, it's called corporate restructuring.
well, I'll be honest, we just make up our own titles.
Yeah.
I've changed my my job title like 3 times. No one's questioned me.
I am Doomsday, able to hop over buildings in leaps and bounds. All right.
I think you're probably right here that the old UFC would probably push towards DC versus Gustafsson. But then again, I don't know here. The old UFC never had a light heavyweight division this bad, this barren. I mean, you really can't name a top 10 in that division and go, yep, okay.
Top 10 in what division?
Light heavyweight division, and go, yep, those are 10 great guys. I mean, when they lost Phil Davis and Ryan Bader to Bellator, that did hurt them. That cannot be ignored now because the John Jones.
You know, they didn't think that of them in order for them to be let go and not be I guess retained somewhat.
If Phil Davis and Ryan Bader were around, you could create more matchups and there could be recirculation of contenders more, and that's not there. The infrastructure for the division is gone in a sense. That is something that may, even in the old regime, the old paradigm of the UFC, they may still have done this. I don't know.
I think that I don't know. I mean, look, the matchup between DC and Stipe, whoever wins, what I'm trying to figure out is what happens after that. If DC wins this title, like, is he gonna start flying around with 2 belts and not defending one? And then are we gonna still keep having these interim here, interim there? Because I'm noticing that these fighters they want to achieve greatness, but they're not really able to keep up with defending both belts, especially when they stretch out in between weight divisions like Conor did. He really stretched himself out, right?
Well, I think it's impossible to defend 2 divisions in today's era with guys fighting 2 or 3 times a year. It's impossible. It just is. I'm sorry, it is. And secondly, DC's retiring if he wins this fight. That's what I'm thinking. This is a send-off fight if he wins, right? Like
yeah, come on. He's gonna have to defend it.
Why? What do you mean have to? There's no.
He's not leaving without defending. He's gonna be like me, getting to the end of the race, getting the medal, and then just giving it up. Like, here.
No, it's not giving it up. It's saying, hey, I'm taking this medal and going home. Deucey.
So what? He relinquishes both titles and gets a desk job.
Fuck yeah, he already had a desk job with Fox Sports.
No, but I mean permanently, like no more fighting.
Yes. He already said by the age of 40 he's done. I think the guy's like 38 or 39. He's old. Like the guy's old. I think it's next year he turns 40. So yeah, he's done, man. Like he's not making it. He's not defending both those titles if he wins. No, if he wins, he's saying deuces. It's been great. I'm the champ. I'm the greatest. John Jones couldn't do this. I did. I'm out. UFC, give me that desk job, which they will. And he'll become the new Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan's going to leave at some point soon. And they're going to need a new personality to commentate the events. And DC has done a phenomenal job of that.
He has. He's pretty good.
I mean, that Thug Rose call is famous now. Thug Rose. Thug Rose. That made him. That made his career instant. Because you can just say shit like that. It's the Mike Goldberg shit. You can say simple shit as long as it can resonate. And DC can resonate with the fans. He's getting that desk job 100%.
Well, speaking about after job, a career after the UFC, Ronda Rousey, right? Ronda Rousey's coming off the fucking top turnbuckle and hitting everyone in their living room through the fucking WWE, Matt. What's going on? Ronda Rousey Royal Rumble?
Yes, and if you're watching this on playback, I'm probably going to splice this out. So you guys are going to see the clip here of Ronda Rousey making a WWE debut, so enjoy that. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a ton of takes on this. I've seen the video. It's not much. She enters after the Royal Rumble. There's 30 women. First time ever that happened as a main event for the WWE. And she came in at the very end, didn't say a word, pointed to the WrestleMania sign, and then walked off, shook Sarah McMahon's hand, and that was it. That was it.
That was it, huh?
I've heard topics from this is the greatest thing ever to Ronda Rousey is going to fail in the WWE and bankrupt it. I've heard everything in between. So I don't know what to think of this, to be honest. I think this was the natural step for her. I think we can all see that they put this little teaser out. What was it? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when she was in WrestleMania with The Rock, and that created a whole splash. I think you muted, Doomy. I think this has been in the works for a while, so I don't think any of us are shocked by this.
I mean, look, don't say that. Don't you dare say that. I was
shocked by this. I'm not shocked.
I mean, come on, man. What do you mean you're not shocked? What other UFC fighter has gone from UFC to the WWE that you're not shocked? Because we've seen the trade-offs, them coming over to UFC, but a UFC coming over to WrestleMania. I'm guessing this is the Brock Lesnar relationship that was brought over by him, right? With WWE and UFC, that they're able to now do this. But I wasn't expecting it from Ronda, dude.
Not necessarily, because you have to remember. So, I may have a timeline here for people that may not have known that this was in the works for years. This has been in the works for years, and if you pay attention to the scene at all, in any sort of really deep, specific looking for at the scene, you've seen this happen. You've seen this growing, and that this was going to happen at some point. Ronda Rousey signed with WME ING, the talent agency, which now owns the UFC. But she signed with them before they bought the UFC. So do not think of them as the owners of the UFC at this point. She signed with the
okay. Now I'm getting
it. That talent agency also has The Rock, also has the McMahons, also has all of these people in the WWE. And then Ronda Rousey gets featured on the WWE telecast when she's there just as a fan. And then 3 months later, she's at WrestleMania in the ring with Sarah McMahon and actually throws off a fucking stunt with her and The Rock. And then she goes back to the UFC. That was a one-off thing. Dana White hush-hushes it. But everyone knows that the WWE actually wants Ronda Rousey. And that was 2 or 3 years ago at this point from now. So then we have...
I'm glad for her. I'm not
a bag. She got a bag, man. We all know.
I'm really happy for her because, nonetheless, even though she went out the way she went out fighting lionesses, and she did a lot for the sport. She fucking conquered a lot. She did shit that no other woman has done, still yet to do.
Absolutely.
So,
I'll put this.
If we're gonna give her some credit, right? Even after those fucking ass whoopings, I'm gonna give her the credit that she still has the courage to go out there and still perform in entertainment and not let the fucking the harsh critics really get to her. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people really criticized her pretty hard after those losses, and some were like some of the messages were kind of appalling in a way. You know what I mean? Because there was some shit going along, and she got fucking memed the hell out of. So, kudos to her for coming back into entertainment. And, we love her as an entertainer, period. Hopefully, maybe I'll get into fucking WWE, man. Maybe I'll start fucking tuning in.
Before I actually have some critique of Ronda Rousey for the WWE, I'm actually going to give her some props for the UFC. Because like you said, what she did for the UFC and women's MMA as a whole can never be understated and should never be understated. And her career and resume should never be understated as well. I'm just going to name off her resume in order from her fourth fight on. Julia Budd, Miesha Tate, Sarah Kaufman, Liz Carmouche, Miesha Tate in the rematch, Sarah McMahon, Alexis Davis, Kat Zingano, Betch Correa, and then she has the 2 losses to Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes. That right there is one of the greatest resumes in women's MMA history. And if you do not know who an Alexis Davis was at the time, or Sarah McMahon was at the time, or Liz
Carmouche,
or Miesha Tate, or even Julia Budd. If you don't know those names, then this may not be the show for you. Please go educate yourself. Please go educate yourself on MMA here, because there is very few people in MMA that had a run like Ronda Rousey, that beat the top 10 names in a row that Ronda Rousey did, top 5 names in a row that Ronda Rousey did. I think Ronda Rousey has, if not the single greatest women's MMA record, top 3.
I mean, bro, you know, the only person that I even put like near.
There's only 2 women I put with her, and that's Chris Cyborg and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Right now.
Well, no, if I want to keep it in the same weight division, because even though Cyborg's, you know, at a heavier division now, I still believe that she would have been able to make it at that time. You know, fights didn't happen for whatever reasons.
Been able to make it. Have you not seen the Cyborg documentary?
Yeah, I've seen all the Cyborg documentaries, but I still feel that towards the end of Ronda's career, her exiting, she was able to make that weight, and the fight still wouldn't have happened. And I'm not saying they were protecting her from Cyborg, but they were protecting the brand. And Cyborg, bro, Cyborg, to me, kudos to Ronda for whatever she's done. But let's just get it straight here. Fucking Cyborg is just whole next level. She's a fucking warrior in every sense. She's dominant. She's hits fucking hard.
MMA fighter, like that was obvious. Like
total.
Ronda Rousey was the Royce Gracie in the early '90s for women's MMA.
Yep, you said it.
Came in with a skill set that no one could really deal with.
Can I tell you something? She actually did. If you really think about it, she was like Royce Gracie in the time when UFC really first popped out.
93 to 96, man. Like that.
You know how he was repping for the jiu-jitsu, right? And it seems as though Ronda came out for every fight repping the judo.
Absolutely.
And you know, judo is the mother of jiu-jitsu, and that's where the
great point.
Yeah, you know, and that's where the arm bars would always come out of, you know, because judo, you would go from a throwdown to an arm bar, and you know, that's what she brought, man. She brought that convincingly you could take people out with judo, judo and jiu-jitsu. If you want to just add, you know, make that.
Ronda Rousey, for whatever, maybe some, you know, very lonely men out there that follow the sport, you know, they may fear that she started a feminist wave, but I mean, she started a women's sports wave that should be applauded. Period. Now, on to my critique of Ronda Rousey in the WWE, because there should be some. She's not going to do good in the WWE. Ronda Rousey's, some of her fatal flaws, in my opinion, is that she was never the greatest promo, in a sense. Like, she was never the greatest talker. Her look, her tone, body language, and the way she executed her fights, I think that package is what sold her. Plus, being a white blonde girl and being cute, that does help. I think you put a mic in front of her, she was never the greatest at putting those quotes out there.
She wasn't a big hype talker. I think that she was more of like an intimidating, you know, she would walk.
Presence.
Yeah, like, yeah, you're saying your presence and everything, but I never saw her to be a talker. And that's something that, to me, I always saw it like as a nervous energy, be honest with you. I was never really.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm a type of guy, you know me, I'm you know, I never went professional fighter. I'm an amateur fighter, but I've been enough times in the ring, and the fight, the way I take fighting is just a little different. So it's like, you got to be able to talk shit and just feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Feel comfortable. You know, Ferguson, going back to Khabib and Ferguson, they were going to fight before. They were scheduled, right? And something happened with an injury with Khabib, and you could see that Ferguson was already at the level he could just talk shit. He was doing his little ball thing in front of fucking Khabib. I don't know if you saw what he was doing. It was like putting a magic spell on him. I don't know what the fuck, but it really got Khabib mad. You know what I mean?
That was some Mexican voodoo shit right there, right?
Bro, no, that's some fucking Hawaii, some Hawaiian tiki shit he pulled on him and shit. He was.
What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know. Whatever tribe. Oh. No, but isn't Ferguson? Where's Ferguson from?
From Mexico. His family's from Mexico.
Yeah, but where does he live?
He lives in, I think, San Diego or LA.
Oh shit, I got it fucked up then. All right, cool, bro. You were giving him the fucking. Then what does he always talk the fucking the cuckoo? That's his nickname.
El Cucuy.
El Cucuy. But that's the actual tribal thing. El Cucuy. It's like the boogeyman in a certain tribe. So that's why I thought he was Hawaiian. But fuck it. He must be some fucking Indian American tribe and shit. I'll find out later, Ferguson. All right. But what I'm saying is that, you got to be comfortable talking shit. And I never found Ronda to be really comfortable talking shit. So I always thought that she might have been a little bit shook. You know what I mean? I remember when they were fucked up in Australia, was it when the fight happened with the boxer? She just fought Cyborg. What's her name?
Holly Holm.
Holly Holmes. Sorry, Holly. Yeah. I thought that when she fought Holly Holmes, she was a little nervous up in the weigh-ins. You know what I'm saying? You see how Holly put her fucking fist to her face. Shit.
Agreed. It's been a good show today, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna wrap it up because we're heading over to TBV, the Boxing Voice. So do me please send over a text to Nest. I know he sent a text to the group chat. Tell him we're leaving MCR. We're gonna start pre-production for the Boxing Voice. Going to be talking about some Matisse Karam numbers and how they compare to Earl Spence's numbers. Oh, we're going to get some hate for that one.
Oh my God. Here we go. We can't, bro, Matt, it's getting to the point where me, you, and Ness cannot be fucking reporting the truth because we get fucking hell for it. If the numbers are telling the truth, the numbers don't lie. Don't hate on us. Don't kill the messenger. Fucking tune over and just get it from us, the voice of you, the people.
Yes. So if you're not subscribed to the Boxing Voice on YouTube, please go subscribe. If you're listening on podcast right now, then head over to the Boxing Voice on iTunes or other ways to listen to a podcast. And
oh, my man, Hands of Stone. I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, Hands of Stone, OG. What up? That was an exercise ball, idiot. Hands of Stone always being control, man. I love it. That was great. You can find me at Mixed Combat News on Twitter, Matt100TBV on Instagram. Obviously, Mixed Combat Radio is here. Subscribe, support, do me.
And you can catch me on IG, Alex_Doomsday_Linez, Lainez, and the Facebook, Alexander Linez, and Twitter. Hardly use it, but still getting the hang of it. AlexTBV Linez. And we'll catch you over on our mother channel, The Boxing Voice.
Definitely follow Alex on IG. He's way more active on IG. And I want to say this. Your morning runs or night runs where you say some inspirational shit, you're on your Shannon Briggs status right there, man. I like it.
Appreciate you saying that, man.
What you do? Flip the camera like this, save those recordings, and then put that on your YouTube.
Well, let me tell you something. Hey, listen, I missed out. Thanks, man. See, I appreciate my boy Matt, man. And you can actually start tuning into my YouTube channel, Doomsday Chronicles. There's only one video up there right now. I'm working on content, guys. Like Matt said, sometimes I go running. I'm gonna have running tips for you guys. I'm gonna have boxing techniques for you guys. I'm gonna have all sorts of stuff. It all goes back to the words Chronicles, just my life and the many things that I do within my realm.
If you want to find that channel, you can go to the Boxing Voice on YouTube, and the featured channel section, you can find all the sister channels to the Boxing Voice, which include, obviously, Doomsday Chronicles, Mixed Combat Radio, which you're listening to right now, and TBV_Casual Fan, which is really the mothership of BoxingFanApparel.com, which is our clothing outlet, so to speak, or branch. Use that corporate,
that Wheezy line.
But yeah, it's been a good one. We'll be back soon. Do say.
Peace.